Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message reads like this. Hello Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post for me? I have my own story that I want to share with you, Brother Nashi. When I came to South Africa, I had nothing, and when I had arrived in South Africa, I then started working in the construction industry, and after I had worked for a little bit, I then returned back home because I had a vision in my head. I knew everything that I wanted to achieve once I had landed in South Africa, and I knew that as a foreigner, me being in South Africa, the opportunities were quite limited for me. So I then returned back home and I applied for my passport, and in those days passports were really very hard to get. They used to come out maybe after 6 months. Sometimes the passports, they used to come out maybe after a year. So when I applied, I was patient enough because I knew what I wanted to achieve by the time that I would have returned back to South Africa. And the thing that was giving me all of this hope, I was dating this other woman who was a South African, and she had faith in me. She stayed faithful to me even by the time when I had returned back home to Zim, and as I was busy applying for my license, because she said that I had so much potential. She wanted me to become a truck driver. She was always there by my side. Since things are very expensive here in Zim, then I saw that quickly the money that I had was no more. But this woman, even though I had left her in South Africa, she was very faithful enough. Maybe the reason why she had stayed faithful to me, it was because after we had met, she had fallen pregnant, and after she had fallen pregnant and she had a miscarriage, and this was quite a traumatic time for us in our relationship, but we stayed together. And the way that I used to take care of her after she had a miscarriage, she said that no man had ever showed her such respect and love. That was why she kept on loving me even by the time that I had returned back home to Zim. She always sent me money each and every month, and Brother Nashi, I was using that money to go for my driving lessons. And after I had gotten my license, I then returned back to the province where I had met this South African woman that I was staying with. We continued with our relationship, and she kept on giving me good advice to always stay out of trouble, to stop drinking, because I was someone who was quite a heavy drinker, and I used to smoke a lot of weed, and it was one of her conditions. She said that if you want me to date you, then you need to stop drinking alcohol. So just for her, I had to stop smoking. But there was a darker side to my character that she didn't know, because I was someone who didn't have patience. Even when I was still here in Zim, I had tried going around so that I can get someone who was going to do some money-making rituals for me, but simply because when I was still back home in Zim, I was not working. The money that was required, it was quite a lot. So I still had that character that I just wanted to make money quickly. And maybe it was because I was coming from a place whereby I had seen my mother suffering, and the way she suffered until she died, even the way that she died, it was because there was no money. My mother, when she passed away, they actually removed the oxygen breathing machine by force because we could not pay the money that was needed anymore. So when I came here to South Africa, I had that bitterness towards poverty. I was tired of being poor, but I was hiding this dark character from my South African wife. And sometimes I think that if I had stayed by this woman's side with her vision and my vision, maybe we were going to be where she wanted us to be. But Brother Nashi, I saw that even though she was working and I was working, but our life was moving really slowly. I then made the mistake of sleeping with her friend, because what happened is that I was now staying at this woman's place. She had said that instead of us paying rent each and every month, why don't we move at our place, like at her parents' place. She was staying with her mother and her brother. I then agreed because we wanted to save some money. So as I was staying at her place, it happened that her friend had came, and in that room that we used to stay, the door didn't have a proper lock. If you could push it, then it could be opened. So on that night, me and my girlfriend, we were making love. So according to her friend, what she told me is that when she came, when she was about to knock on our door, she then found out that we were busy making love. She said that what had gotten her attention was the way that her friend was making some noises. So she then slightly opened the door to see what was going on, because the noises that her friend was making, they were quite interesting to her. That was when she said that she liked everything that she had seen me doing to her friend. That was how I started dating her. But me and her, we only slept with each other for a few weeks, and then the woman that I was dating, she then caught me cheating. That was how she kicked me out of her house. Then I just started struggling. I then spoke with one of my friends. This friend of mine, we had gone to school together. He then told me that he was in Cape Town and he was working at a certain farm where they were cultivating grapes. He then told me that if I could come to Cape Town, it would be easy for me to get a job, considering the fact that I had a valid passport and I had a driver's license. And at the farm where he was working, they were in need of drivers, and he said that for you it will be much better, because with your valid passport, then it was going to be easy for the farm to apply a work permit for you. So it was going to be great for me. I traveled to Cape Town without ever saying goodbye to the woman who had made it possible for me to get the passport and the license. When I traveled to Cape Town, I then started working on that farm. Firstly, I was driving a tractor. From a tractor, I was now driving a TLB, and I was using a lot of machinery on that farm. Within a short period of time, Brother Nashi, I was now enjoying life. Even though it was hard work, I was now enjoying life, and I had forgotten about that woman that I had left behind. So Brother Nashi, I met this other woman. This woman that I met, she is a Xhosa speaking woman. I am still staying with her, Brother Nashi. Then this woman, after we started dating, I saw that she is a woman who is always complaining a lot, because when I started working at that farm, without your monthly bonuses and overtimes, I was getting 4,500 rands a month as my basic salary. But after the overtimes and the monthly bonuses, I would get somewhere between 7,000 to 7,600 rands. So each and every month, I will take that money and I will give it to her. But still, Brother Nashi, she was always rude, and whenever she would speak with me after she had used up my salary, she would say that I am too poor and she's too good for me because she is very beautiful, Brother Nashi. Yes, I have seen a lot of beautiful South African women, but this one, she is more than beautiful. Then the mistake that I did, Brother Nashi, there was a time when our boss wanted to hire other workers, and the workers that he wanted were only women. I then spoke with my boss and I told him that my wife was also in need of a job, so we were now working together. And when I was now working with her, Brother Nashi, from the first time that she earned her salary, she was now more than rude. She kept on saying that, yeah, I only want to get into a marriage with her so that I can get a South African ID. And she was saying that now a lot of truck drivers, because on our farm there are a lot of truck drivers that come to our farm to collect some grapes and stuff, and they will be delivering those grapes to different areas. So one day, as we were busy fighting, she said that you are just one who only wants to sleep with me. You do not even give me money that is enough to settle all of my bills. Look, there are other guys who have been proposing love to me, and those guys, she meant the guys that are truck drivers. Brother Nashi, I was really hurt because she said that you should know know that I am only doing you a favor by dating you. Then, Brother Nashi, we kept on fighting and fighting. That was when she fell pregnant. And when she fell pregnant, Brother Nashi, I was really happy because in my mind I said that if this woman is going to give birth to this child, then I'll be able to control her because she will know that I am the father to her child. But she did the unthinkable. When she fell pregnant, this was not my baby. When this woman had fallen pregnant, Brother Nashi, I then said to myself, for one last time, let me travel back home so that I can try to find someone who can give me the money-making rituals. When I traveled back home, I then consulted with this other traditional healer. So as we were busy doing the consultation so that he can give me some charms so that I can become rich, that was when he looked at me and he said that I can see that you are very happy, but your ancestors are not happy. I said, why are my ancestors not happy, uncle? The woman that you are staying with, the child that she is carrying, it is not your child because your ancestors have revealed it to me that you have been sleeping around, and I see that she has been sleeping around with a man, and this man that she has been sleeping around with, you know this man, Brother Nashi. He then gave me some herbs and he told me that these herbs that I am about to give you, when you return back to South Africa, just use these herbs in such a way and within a few days she is going to expose herself to you. So I traveled back to South Africa heartbroken, and I pretended as if I didn't have any charms or any herbs. Then that woman that I am staying with, she then started exposing herself to me. She then told me that there was this other man who was working on a nearby farm. He is a truck driver and he's from Zim. She then told me that this man had tried to date her for a very long time and she had refused, until one day when me and her, we had a big argument. She then walked out on me and it was late at night, and I still remember that night because she didn't return back home. Back in those days when we would fight, she would make sure that even if she would go out, like if she would tell me that she doesn't love me anymore, but still she will come back banging on the door, then we will continue fighting. So on that night, she didn't return. She then told me that the reason why she didn't return on that night, it was because after she had gotten out of the place where we are staying, she was then stopped by a car, and when she looked, she saw that the man that was driving the car, it was that same man who had been trying to date her. She then got into the car, then they started talking to each other. That was how they ended up sleeping with each other on that same night. And she told me that they didn't use any protection at all and they continued sleeping with each other. That was how she ended up falling pregnant for the guy, and she didn't know what to do with the pregnancy. I was so hurt, Brother Nashi, when she told me that the child that she was carrying, it was not my child. But I had never fallen in love with such a beautiful lady with such a beautiful body. I was heartbroken and I said, it is okay. I am going to take care of the baby under the condition that you are going to give me a child of my own. Deep in my heart, Brother Nashi, I felt so much pain. You know, when you have found out that your wife has been sleeping with another man, whenever you come across that man, you feel so much pain. Then at that time, I had bought a car and it was time for me to travel back home before she had given birth. I then returned back to that traditional healer. I wanted him to strengthen my car for me so that it won't get stolen or for it to be involved in a road accident. Then that man, he gave me more charms, and he told me that he had seen that the woman that I was staying with, she has a spiritual gift, and there was a way that I could use that spiritual gift, because he said that I know that your desire is to become rich. I said, what kind of spiritual gift are you talking about? He then told me that the woman that I am staying with, she has some ancestors that are with her. Wherever she goes, the ancestors will go with her. In short, he was trying to tell me that the woman that I am staying with, she has an ancestral calling. She is supposed to be a traditional healer. That man then told me that I want some of those spiritual gifts that are on that woman that you are staying with in South Africa. Brother Nashi, if she had not cheated on me, I was never going to do this to her. But whereas I was sitting with that man in his consultation room, that was when I kept on thinking about all the pain that she had given to me, and like the way that before she had cheated, like before I had caught that she was cheating on me, she had refused to get married to me. It was only after I had caught her cheating that was when she said, okay, we can get married. So Brother Nash, I felt so much pain. I asked that traditional healer what he wanted me to do. He said, there is blood that I needed. I don't know, how are you going to get this blood? I said, no. Do you want me to kill this woman? If I do that, I'm going to get arrested. He said, that is an option, but no, we are not going to use that option. He then told me that when you are in South Africa, I am going to give you an instruction. When I had returned back to South Africa, that was when that traditional healer told me that when my woman will be on her monthly cycle, when she will be menstruating, I had to take her sanitary pads. So I had to wait for my wife to give birth first. After she had given birth, that man, he had given me some herbs to drink. The herbs that I was supposed to drink was to make sure that when I'll be sleeping with the baby's mother, since I was not the baby's father, then the baby will not get sick. So soon after my wife had given birth, 3 months later on, we were sleeping together. Then my wife, she then started seeing her periods. So what I'll do, Brother Nash, is that I would take her sanitary pads. Then at the end of the month, I would buy bags of rice and some other groceries that I would want to send to Zim. Then I'll cut open the bag of rice. Then I'll place those dirty sanitary pads in that bag of rice. Then I'll just send it to Zim. And these groceries, they were going straight to that traditional healer. So when the traditional healer would have received the items, he would then take that bag of rice and he would open it up. I don't know what he used the sanitary pads, but I did this, Brother Nashi, for 2 straight years. Each and every month, I would steal some of my wife's sanitary pads and I'll send them back to Zim. And at that time when I was doing this, I pretended as if I was someone who was really caring. Whenever she was on her monthly periods, I would make sure that I would go around, even if she would leave her sanitary pad like in our bedroom, I would not even complain. I would take it and I would pretend as if I would have placed it in those refuse bags, but later on I would remove her dirty sanitary pads from the refuse bags and I would hide them in the car, because knowing her, she's a woman that doesn't regularly search in my car. So I would hide those dirty sanitary pads at the back of the car. And after that, Brother Nashi, that is when I will then buy the items that I would want to send back home. These are the things that I did to my wife, Brother Nashi. I don't know what that traditional healer was using those pads, those dirty sanitary pads for, but I just felt like I needed to confess. Even right now, Brother Nashi, I still love my wife, but I have been unable to forgive her. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. Then we had to give you this translation, even though it was very difficult to translate. Strange things do happen in this world.